familiar tune. The nurse case manager told me she had dementia. One morning I went to visit her at the skilled nursing facility where she lived. I planned to arrive after breakfast because I didn't want to distract her from eating, but I wanted to conclude the visit before her shower, which I knew would exhaust her and leave her sleeping the rest of the morning. The nurse and the daughter both had shared with me that morning seemed to be the best time for her. She was largely nonverbal, according to family and the facility staff who cared for her 24/7 and knew her well. On my initial visit, I found her sitting alone in the dining room in her wheelchair, pushing food around on her plate with her spoon. She was humming. I took a step into the room, but remained quiet. I stood behind her right shoulder so as to not disturb what appeared to be a contented moment. I waited, and then I recognized the tune, "Take Me Out to the Ball Game." I walked further into the room and stood a few feet away, listening and amazed to hear her make sound. I should not have been surprised. Research shows that music is often one of the last pieces of our memory to leave us, even when our brains are challenged by trauma or disease. I smiled to hear her voice hum the phrase, "Buy me some peanuts and Cracker Jacks." Suddenly, she stopped humming mid-song. I waited, but when she didn't continue after several breathless moments, I took a few slow steps forward and further to her right so as to not startle her, and picked up where she left off, humming the next phrase. I knelt down. When I stopped humming, she turned toward me, leaning back a bit as if to ask, "Who are you?" She appraised me for a long moment, eyebrows creeping into her well-coiffed hairline. I remained at eye level, a less intimidating position to someone with dementia, and to anyone seated, really, and smiled my gentlest smile. I breathed slowly and attempted to exude peace and compassion toward her. As a stranger, I did not want to seem threatening as I entered into her space. It can be easy to forget that persons with dementia live in a world that is often confusing and frightening, and that they deserve slow, patient, calm approaches and interactions to feel safe and respected. Her brow relaxed as she sat up straight, still facing me, then raised her head and hummed the next line. Then she stopped, leaned toward me, raised one eyebrow, looking straight at me with a slight, almost challenging smirk, and waited. I hummed. I stopped, leaned toward her, returned the smirk and raised eyebrow, and waited as well. She broke into a wide, full-on grin and lifted her arthritis-curled hands to conduct us both as we hummed together. We each laughed and clapped our hands as she let out a cheer. She apparently had accepted me, so I moved to kneel in front of her. Finally, she stopped her applause and launched into ba-ba-da-da-da, as in shave and a haircut, and then pointed at me, to which I replied, "Dun, dun." It became our first conversation and was the start of a great relationship. It is easy to assume that persons who are no longer able to communicate with us in ways we are accustomed to, or ways that are easy for us to quickly understand, are no longer there. Sometimes it just takes more patience, more slowness, more creative ways of looking to really see the person who is still there. It's just in a different way. When we can move past our discomfort with what is no longer and embrace what still is, oh, the music we can find. I had learned from her family that for decades she was the pianist and organist at her church. I learned what some of her favorite hymns were, and as I sang them, she played air piano, then clapped and cheered after we finished our songs. I never heard her say a word, but we knew how to communicate in a way that was familiar and life-giving to us both.